Welcome to episode 2. In this episode, we're going to be making the layout and the gameplay and to teach you how to make the gameplay fun.
We're gonna bring the background back to blue, and this is just the start background. And the ground, I'm gonna make it black. And also, you can change the background that you want. So I'm gonna go for I want to use the dash background because I think it is very cool. And now you guys can see that we are starting, right? We are starting. This is looking very nice. So what we want to do next is we want to listen to the song and see how our gameplay is going to be. So if we listen to the song, I can hear that there is like a kind of like a beat or something right on here. So I want to jump right there. So you can jump and then you can go to the spikes, for example, and just place something in here and just place a block. So this is not like the final version. You're just basically doing the gameplay. So boom, boom, boom. Okay, another jump over there. So we're going to add another jump. So now, boom, boom, boom. And then something changes with the song. So I want to flip the gravity. So add this one E as the hotkey. And now let's say I want to have it something like this. By the way, you guys can hold shift to add multiple objects like this. Or if you're on mobile, click on this swipe and then you can kind of do this, but then you can't scroll. So if you want to scroll, disable that to scroll. So now we are actually getting used to a lot of objects. Now you can select by doing edit and then going to swipe or holding shift on your keyboard and then selecting like that and delete over there. We're not going to use the deletes over here yet. We're going to use that in a bit, but for now, I think this is pretty cool. Okay, now you can click enter on your keyboard to playtest. So enter, 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 boom, boom. Okay, now the song kind of changes, which is why we want to go over here and I add like upside down gameplay. So boom, boom, boom. Okay, there's another one and I want to add like a double spike. I'm not going to make this too hard. Select and then this is a half block. And now while we're at it, I'm going to teach you guys about these guys. So if you have a spike, you can move it up by 1/10 of a grid block. So this is like if you click 10 times, you're going to end up on the next block. Or if you want to do an instant one, you can use these guys. And these ones are by 5. So 5, 5, 5, 5. This one is 1/20th. So half of this one is this one. So if you want to have some very precise things, you can zoom in and do this. But for now, I don't think we're going to need it. And this one is the half block. It's going to move it right in the center. If you click it twice, you're going to end up there. So we have these guys, which are pretty self-explanatory, and then these two as well. These ones we're not going to use yet, but the scale also allows you to scale things. So for example, I want to have like a big spike in here. I can add it and then scale it to 2. Now you may say, why can I not scale to 4 like you? You have to go to here, settings, and then go here, and then increase scale. You're going to have to enable that increase scale, which basically increases the maximum object scale to 4x and minimum to 0.25. And you got to be careful to not, scale objects too much, but we're going to have a fix to that in a bit. So now we're going to scale this to exactly 2, which this should work like 2, like that. Nice. So now we have we're learning. Let's go. Okay, now I want to see what the song is doing next. So I kind of feel like it's going back. However, I don't want to go back like this with a portal. I actually want to use one of these orbs. The green orb basically just switches your gravity, but gives you a nice little jump at the end. Look at this. So boom, boom, jump, jump, jump. Nice. Okay, this is looking pretty good. So again, use any of these blocks. Really, it doesn't matter. You just want to have some structure to land on so that you know how the gameplay is going to be with the song. And now I kind of feel like this is a perfect place to kind of start falling down for some reason. So I'm just going to do that. It kind of fits with the song. So why not? Boom, boom, boom. This is honestly looking pretty good. Okay, now another jump. We're going to put a spike there and make sure that you... What do you want to do? Let's actually use some orbs. It is important to use orbs instead of, portals and jump pads because it kind of adds more to the gameplay, right? It feels more fun to click this one as opposed to adding this one instead, right? It is, it just makes the player more interactive. Okay, nice, nice. This is looking pretty good. And now we're gonna just land normally. Hold shift to, of course, draw like that, boom, boom. And now, like, okay, this is perfect actually. I kind of want to have like two jumps over here like that, kind of like this. And then we're gonna transition into the ship part. So the ship part, over here we have this one. And by the way, if you want to move things, you can go up and then down with WASD. So it is very convenient and very, very simple to get used at. So now the ship portal. The ship portal, there are actually a bunch of things I want to say about it, but now let's actually just enjoy the beautiful sync. The music sync is pretty good. And now you guys can see that it is getting a little bit hard to test something in here because we don't want to go through all of this every time you want to test. So there is something, and this is going to be the very first trigger we're going to use, and it is a start position. If you go over here on the color, we're going to put a start position on here, and you can click on the edit object to see these things. And nothing really is scary, I know, but don't worry. I'm going to tell you exactly what anything is. So the first thing you want to keep in mind is that triggers will not be shown in game. So if I put a move trigger over there and deselect it and then go to save and play, you're going to see that first of all, we're going to start right here where I placed the start position. However, you don't see the move trigger. Well, that's because triggers are invisible in the game. You don't see them. These are just things to modify certain objects or do things within the game. For example, I can move a block, which I'm going to show you guys in a bit as well. I'm going to try my best to use as many triggers as possible so that you guys can have a like very small, brief explanation or like a description of what each one of these triggers do. However, it's not going to be like too much into depth. So we're not going to like use this one and do this weird stuff, right? We're going to go simple. So start positions are very, very helpful. However, when you want to finish your level, you can't use start positions because in order to upload a level, you have to verify it from 0. So you're going to play in normal mode from 0 and then beat it. It's not allowed to have any start positions. So make sure that is also checked. So these buttons, we're actually going to go through them because it is very important to know. So the edit object is probably the one that you're going to use the most, and it basically just edits the properties of that selected object. So right now I can deselect and select a spike. I can change the color of it, as you guys can see, but we're going to go to more colors later. I'm just going to show you guys what these buttons are. So this one has these properties, which basically allow you to change the gameplay type, the gameplay mode, for example. So if I started as a robot, for example, you can start in here if you click on this gear and then select robot. You guys can see that I'm going to start as a robot. I'm a robot at the start. But now if you click on here, you're going to start as a cube. So you can change this to here. I want to start as a robot, and it starts as a robot, which is perfect. So we're going to go back to cube, and you can also change the speed. And the same way you can change the speed, the start speed in here as well. So yeah, pretty much the same settings are in here. Also these ones, dual, mini, we're going to go into all of that later. But now we're going to the ship part, and you can see that there are borders up and down. And this is because the ship by default has this border, which I'm going to show you. So if you click on the ship, click on edit objects and then preview. Preview is basically going to show you these lines. And as you guys can see, if I move it up and down, so we're going to see these lines, and these are basically where the ground is going to be. However, if you zoom out later or something, it's going to get a little wacky. So I would recommend just clicking on that ship portal, edit object, and then free mode. Free mode basically removes the ground, so there's no more ground. And click on OK, and now you guys can see I can go wherever I want. That is awesome. You can also edit the camera settings if you want to add, easing to make it more smooth. For example, now if I go up, you can see that the camera is smoothly moving, but very slowly moving. And if you drag this down all the way to 1, it's going to go very strict. So it's going to go up with you. So it's following the player like strictly. And I like to keep this at somewhat like 14, 15. And padding is basically how much, area, how much like more area you want to have between the player and the edges of the screen, but this doesn't really matter. Just keep it somewhere at C6 or something. So now we want to make some ship gameplay, and we're actually going to go a bit crazy, and I want to disable the preview so I don't have these lines because we're going to fly up and down. And what I like to do with the ship is kind of play the song and then see when the next beat comes. And I feel like it's kind of in here. I feel like this is a perfect spot for it. So this is basically changing the gravity. Again, just like here, we're going to change the gravity. Boom, boom. All right, now. And then again, we want to change the gravity again. So boom, fly, fly, change gravity, fly, again, change gravity. And then I want to make you go into small. So from upside down, then to normal, then to slow. So it's very important to first place these, these portals so that your gameplay gets affected while you are testing. And then you can draw this line and then it switches to something else. The beat changes again, so it is important to change the game mode as well. I want to place a bold portal over here, and let's see how this is gonna go. Like that, and then small, and then we're gonna go like that. Alright, and now the beat is really hitting, so it is getting crazier and crazier, which is why I like this beat, because you can slowly learn as the beat gets crazier and crazier. So, the ball, you guys also saw that there are borders, and you can see the borders as well like that. And you can also, change this one to the same settings, which is basically not that, it is important to not have borders with the ball, but if you don't want to have borders, it's important to add blocks, because if you make the portal free fly mode, which is basically removing the borders, what's going to happen is that you're just going to fall down, right? So you want to add objects underneath it. So now I would say let's actually focus more on the gameplay and see how we're gonna build our ship parts. So I wanna have like a very nice like that, and then maybe fly like this, and then like that, and then go mini. And in here I just want to stay in the center. Yeah, exactly. Like that sounds good. And then you kind of want to build your gameplay around these things. And I'm gonna try to use these objects because these are like very round. Just make sure you don't go too crazy, because the beginning part was very, very easy. So we don't want to do something like this, right? We don't want to do that. We're not going extreme demon mode yet. So yeah, we want to keep the gameplay balanced. It is very, very important to keep the gameplay balanced and also fun, which is why I'm not going to place this in here, because if somebody goes like that, they're just simply going to die. So it is important to give the player a little bit of time to react that you have just changed into the new gameplay. So yeah, you just keep it like that. And yeah, now we're going to do the line again, because I removed it, because yeah, that's not so cool. But it's fine. I mean, the song is so heat, I can listen to it quite a few times. Okay, so now I would say like that should be pretty good. All right, nice. And now we want to add more blocks. And I'm going to go for a very like a funky, style of the blocks. So like that should be pretty good. And just to make sure that there's enough stuff going on, we're just going to add this one as well. And we're going to select this one and just copy and paste it using the one above. And then Alt E. Alt E is basically this one. Alt E or Alt Q for this one. So we want to do Alt E, and then we want to place this over there. And now you may say, how do I place this? Well, you can see these two buttons, which you can enable by F or G. So F and G. And free mode, which you can enable in here, basically allows you to move the selected object. So I can click on swipe, select this whole thing, disable swipe, and then move around freely. And snap basically snaps them onto the ground, which is very, very important in this case. We want to have them snap around like that, and then disable to deselect, and then do that, and then select everything. Control D to copy and paste, and then Alt Q to invert, or on the x-axis like that. That is very nice looking already. Boom, like that. You see, you can have enough room to fly so that the player can react. And now we want to add more spikes in here, I would say, so that the player doesn't, sneak up the portal, because we don't want to have any skips or secret ways in this level yet, at least. So we might add ones later, but they're usually not recommended to add. But yeah, we're just going to build around the gameplay, and now we know a lot of shortcuts, so we can just go 1, 2, and then, quickly go to 1 again, add more objects, add this, and then maybe do that, and then this. And select all of it, move it to the right, maybe a little bit like that. Nice. And then click 1 again, like that. It is working very, very fine. So you want to add some blocks variants, because if I just do this, let's say I just get rid of all of this and then just move it up for now. and then I just copy and paste this like that. You can see that it's not looking, it's weird. It's looking not as cool as these ones, right? These ones look a lot better. Like there's a lot of variations, which is very important in Geometry Dash. Add more variations into your level to make it look fresh, right? You don't want to have any repetitive stuff over here. So yeah, we're gonna add another ground in here so you don't go below the portal. We're gonna actually move it a bit so you have more freedom, like that perhaps. Yeah, sounds good. And this one, yeah, we're gonna go like that. Just make sure to always, replay so that you have that perfect path that you want to go through. That kind of, you can sync it with the music as you go on. And I'm really just doing stuff up my mind over here. We're just gonna do things as we think it looks cool. So like, I think these spikes look pretty good. So like that, maybe move this a bit like that, and then add another saw blade over here. Make sure that you're gonna go like this nice dip in here. And yeah, we don't want to make you be able to skip this portal again. So add somehow a way to make sure they don't skip it. So maybe something like this should prevent them from skipping it. And now I'm actually gonna start using something different, because now I think you guys understand exactly how this works. So we're gonna use our first trigger. Triggers are very important and they make the level a lot more fresh and a lot more alive. So we're gonna save real quick. Just make sure you save every few seconds. Click on here, save, and yeah.
And with that, you have started to making the layout. In the next episode, we're going to be continuing the layout and learning just a tiny bit about move triggers.